Hello, friends. Let's discuss current affairs. We begin with a question on the Syrian president, who's had some really bad things going, for him. But the former Syrian president. But the question is easy around. Well, he's not in Syria. He's in Moscow. Meet Bashar al-Assad. Bashar al-Assad, my friends. Just a second, please. Never mind. Here, we were discussing Bashar al-Assad. See, this guy was the president of Syria between year 2000 and 2024. Before that, it was his dad, the all, powerful Hafez al-Assad, who ruled this country for close to 30 years. Hafez al-Assad. These guys belong to the al-Assad dynasty. This guy was evil, but this guy was much more evil. He was, you could say, evil, 10 times more than, he was more evil than his papa was. So what kind of evil he was? He used, all kinds of repressive measures to run down the population. Remember, my friends, before I come to this, let me take you to a map. Then you will understand it better. Now, this is Syria. Okay. Now, Syria is a pretty large country given the area that we are in. You have countries like Lebanon here and Israel, while there is Jordan in its on its southwest. There is Iraq, with which it shares a pretty long border. But in the north, the whole of the north border is you would find Turkey. Now, you see there is Iran here. Hafez al-Assad, my friends, was Shia Islam, Shia Muslim. Now, this is very important for us to understand. He was a practitioner of Shia Islam. Iran is the world's most powerful Shia Islamic country. There is a militant group here called Hezbollah, okay? Hezbollah, which is anti-Israel. So, sponsored by these guys and Shia. Another sponsor was Bashar. Okay. Now, what we need to understand here is that Bashar al-Assad used torture, arbitrary detention to detain thousands of people, lakhs of people, especially of those who practiced Sunni Islam. Sunni Islam. Because 74% of the country's population, the Syrian population, is, Sunni Islam. Is Sunni. They practice Sunni Islam. Now, you have to understand that against them, he used seriously, repressive, draconian measures. Anyone who would dare oppose him would simply disappear from the scene. Thousands of people were killed. Now, there is no particular estimate about the number of people killed. But remember one thing, that someone like Bashar al-Assad, because his regime was very secretive, he made sure that no details of the number of people killed or detained would come out. This country is an internet black hole. This is a kind of a country that that would not allow any sort of media freedom. That would include, of course, the internet freedom. So this is one. Now, another thing is, of course, in this year, let's bring his name back, Bashar. Okay. Year 2000, his dad died and he became the ruler. His elder brother was there, but he died in a road accident. So Bashar al-Assad, an ophthalmologist, a doctor by training, came to power and, straight away got down to business, detaining thousands of people. Now, his major enemies were, Israel. Major enemies was Israel, okay? And biggest supporter was Iran. Shia. This guy was Shia, okay, in a country that predominantly Sunni populated. And he ensured that Hezbollah would get all kinds of support from, Iran. So you see this basically, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon. You may wonder, hey, Iraq, what about Iraq? Why would Iraq, give it, land for any kind of transfer of arms, ammunition, money, funding, whatever, basically to, the Shia militants in, Hezbollah, in Lebanon, because majority of population of Iraq is Shia Islam. Okay, they practice Shia Islam. So, but again, look at this, the funny part, the weird part. In 1979, Saddam Hussein came to power. Saddam was a Sunni. He used extraordinarily, a very big iron fist to crush all Shias in this country. And Bashar, just like Saddam, used chemical weapons against his enemies. So for this reason, a court in Syria has ruled that Bashar al-Assad be killed, hanged till death, basically, for his crimes against humanity. What happened in 2024? A Sunni militant group, earlier affiliated to Al Qaeda, it came to power, and currently Syria is ruled by a man called Ahmad al-Shara. Okay, he was earlier with Al Qaeda. He opted out and he started his own organization. What is that organization? Not really required now. So this is a bit about Bashar. Where is Bashar today? He escaped to Moscow, and Moscow gave him political asylum. For decades, Syria was propped up by Iran and Moscow, that is Russia. Okay. See, Israel, America, Jordan, America. These countries here, the Persian Gulf, America, means they were propped up by America. So enemy's enemy is a friend. Israel, pro-US, but Russia's enemy is America. So America's enemy is Syria. You got the idea? If America's enemy is Syria, so Syria becomes a friend of, Russia. That's why they've propped him up. But of course, now Russia has lost a lot of leverage in this area, and that's why they have moved to Africa. Okay, some other time we could discuss that. So in the 1967 war, the Arab-Israel war, okay, this area called Golan Heights was occupied by Israel from Syria. This was a Syrian territory, occupied by Israel. Even today, it's under Israeli control. But those of you who don't know, this is Palestine, West Bank and Gaza. Together, these two make Palestine. Remember, in 1948, Jordan occupied West Bank and Gaza was occupied by Egypt. So between 48 and 67, West Bank was under Jordan and Gaza was under Egypt. These two countries, that is Egypt and Jordan, put the Palestinians, under the thumb. No freedoms, nothing were allowed. They were not even allowed to, create their own freedom movement, basically. Some other day we could discuss this. Oh, let's go to Colombia, another part of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Colombia. Colombia is the only country in the world named after Christopher Columbus. Okay, so there was this earthquake here that has killed thousands of people. Estimates say thousands, but official numbers say hundreds. Some say 132, but we don't really know because a lot of these people are under the rubble, and the days have, as the days pass, the chances of finding survivors is going down. So little about Colombia. Colombia has a new president. By the way, the capital is Bogota. It's one of the world's most dangerous countries. Now things have changed a bit here because see, this is Cali, okay, and this is Medellin. These two cities were called the cocaine capitals of the world. Cocaine, drug, narcotic, okay. So Bogota is the capital, and they have a new president, whose name is Abelardo de la Esprilia. He's just come to power. Not a very good way to, come to power. In trying times, he has come to power. And he's pro-Trump. Pro-Trump. He defeated the anti-Trump guy called Gustavo Petro. Gustavo Petro. Gustavo or Gustavo does not matter. Outgoing, the new president. The currencies, yeah. Colombian peso. It's called Colombian peso. Real, currency of Brazil. Guarani, currency of Paraguay. Sol, Peru. Coming to Boliviano, you could guess it, Bolivia. Bolivia and Paraguay are the only two countries that are landlocked. The only two South American countries that are landlocked. You see, this is Paraguay and this is Bolivia. If you look at Chile on the coast, Argentina on the coast, slightly below here is Uruguay on the coast, Brazil on the coast, French Guiana, Suriname, British Guiana, Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, all on the coast. So only two countries that have no access to the sea would be Bolivia and Paraguay. Okay. This Bolivia is named after Bolivia, you can say. It is named after Sam Bolivar, the guy who got them freedom from the Spanish. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, all of these countries, except of Portugal, this area, what you got today, except of Brazil, all of the whole of South America, except for large parts of Brazil, were ruled by Spain. That's why the main language spoken here is Spanish. Okay. Whereas the main language spoken in Brazil is Portuguese. Fair? And Colombia is a country that connects, South America with North America. Here you see Panama. Okay. I guess that's about it. A few months, in fact, last month there was an earthquake in Venezuela. Now there's an earthquake in Colombia. And just one extra bit of information. Ecuador is the only country in the world to be named after equator. Now, since my eyes fell on Bolivia, some seriously last bit about this part of the world. Bolivia has two capitals. Okay. One is La Paz. La Paz. This is one capital. Okay. The other is Sucre. This is the second capital. This capital is the highest altitude capital in the world, or highest capital city in the world. By altitude is the highest capital city in the world. Okay, I guess that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. With which nation has India agreed to deepen its development development partnership through MASHAV, the Israeli Agency for International Development Cooperation? Israel, basically, as I mentioned, MASHAV is an Israeli, it's a Hebrew word. Okay. Now, Israel's a tiny country. It's a pretty tiny country. If you draw it like this, okay. This is Israel, fair. West Bank, Gaza, Golan Heights, we mentioned this, Lebanon, Mediterranean Sea, Egypt, Jordan, Syria. West Bank plus Gaza makes Palestine. So this is the Negev Desert. Here you can see there is a water body, the Gulf of Aqaba. Fair, that's what I wanted to tell you. Israel's capital is Jerusalem. It's a disputed center. Palestine claims it. So does Israel. But Israel is in control of this. Okay. For all practical purposes, many countries in the world, including India, have their embassies in Tel Aviv, not in Jerusalem. Okay. And you could say two capitals. And the prime minister is Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay, Russia. Since we mentioned prime minister, we know the Russian president's name is Vladimir Putin. Let's bring in, ladies and gentlemen, the prime minister of Russia, Mikhail Mishustin. Mikhail Mishustin is the prime minister of Russia. And when we read the name, it's not Russia, it's Russia. Okay. Iran's president is Masood. It's a presidential system with the supreme leader at the top, Masoud Pezeshkian. This is the president is China's president, Xi Jinping. Xi is the surname, Jinping is the first name, but I'll give you the name of the Prime Minister, Li Qiang. Li Qiang. This is the Prime Minister of China. Indonesia has a presidential system. Prabowo. Our Prime Minister was in Indonesia recently. Prabowo Subianto. Okay, that's Indonesia for you. Meet Admiral Krishna Swaminathan. Admiral Krishna Swaminathan. This is a nameplate. Yeah, he is the chief of the Indian Navy, my friends. Chief of the Naval Staff. So in the Indian Navy and the US Navy, explosive ordnance. Ordnance relates to armaments, arsenal basically. All kinds of ammunition, arms. Disposal exercise, was held off the coast of Kochi. Fair. What could we be discussing here? Cochin is home to NPOL, Naval Physical and Oceanography Laboratory. Naval, NAVL, Naval Physical and Oceanography Laboratory. Fair. Chennai is home to, since I mentioned an organization, an institution, let me bring in a bit about Chennai as well. Central Leather Research Institute. Chennai is home to Central Leather Research Institute. Visakhapatnam, not much here, except that there is a major naval base here. Okay. You would find the Eastern Fleet here. There is Western Fleet in Mumbai and the Eastern Fleet is in Visakhapatnam. Okay. Mangaluru is a port town, is one of India's major ports, and Thiruvananthapuram, of course, as you all know, this is where you would find the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. The Vikram Sarabhai Space Center is in Thiruvananthapuram. I do not like to leave choices out, so wherever possible, I would try to add as much as I can. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, Vikram Sarabhai Space Center could be found in Thiruvananthapuram. And remember one thing, that Vikram Sarabhai is the father of India's space program. The father of India's space program. Name the person whose tenure as director of the Federal Anti-Money Laundering Agency, the Enforcement Directorate, was extended recently for a year. Rahul Navin. Rahul Navin is going to, will continue to be the ED director. What about the choices? Praveen Sood, Director of Central Bureau of Investigation. The Central Bureau of Investigation is headed by an IPS officer, Praveen Sood. Ravi Agarwal, ladies and gentlemen, is the chairman of CBDT, Central Board of Direct Taxes. Central Board of Direct Taxes. What about Central Board of Indirect Taxes? CBIC. Vivek Chaturvedi is, the chairperson of the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. Coming to the last, the remaining guy, Sanjay Murthy. He, ladies and gentlemen, is the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Auditor General of India, CAG. This office is also in short called CAG. The CAG, my friends, remember one thing. The CAG is the highest audit officer of India. All government ministries, all government departments, plus public sector corporations, their all accounts are audited by, the CAG. If there is a necessity, then even the accounts of private sector companies could also be checked by, audited by CAG. Fair. What is the name of the state of the art? AI, artificial powered, high performance supercomputing facility inaugurated by PM Modi at the Sonipat campus of IIT Delhi. Param Pragya. What are the applications? Their applications could be found in healthcare, financial technology, space exploration, defense, all kinds of things. Okay. I usually go with either spelling that I love, basically. I mean, it could be American word spelling or British spelling. Here in this case, you find American. Okay. Usually I do not write a program. Okay, beyond this, ME I don't write. I would rather prefer this because the last ME, which is in British English, is actually not pronounced, isn't it? So let's be a little more efficient, my friends. So you found defense, robotics, and all that. You know, this one, Param 8000, India's first supercomputer. India's first supercomputer. Okay, this I think came in 1991 sometime. World Lion Day is celebrated, you could say, not just observed, celebrated on August 10th to raise awareness, of course, lion protection, lion, habitat, so that we should, we conserve its habitat, its numbers, and of course, the entire ecosystem. So this is where you would find lions. The Asiatic lion is usually found in this area. Okay, within this protected area, this is the Gir National Park. As of today, 891 lions could be found. 891 lions, and 1/3 of these are outside the protected areas. When I read this, it baffled me. How could 1/3 be outside the protected areas? Because then it creates problems, like conflicts between humans and lions for space, for food, and all that stuff, isn't it? So this is about the lion, friends. Okay. See, when you contrast this, you have the Tiger Day, International Tiger Day, I think July 29th something, isn't it? Now, what about the choices here? August 1st, August 6th or 7th, 8th. Now, let me bring in something, couple of things maybe. August 7th. August 7th is National Handloom Day. Why and all that? Not really required now. Maybe you could just write this way. The Swaraj, movement basically is the reason why this day is celebrated. Okay. What about August 6th, Hiroshima Day? August 8th, Quit India Day. Quit India Day. August 1st, National Mountain Day. National Mountain Day. Okay. You all know this guy, Pragnananda Ramesh Babu. He's, Pragnananda is his name. Ramesh Babu is his dad's name. Who won the Grand Chess Tour St. Louis Rapid and Blitz Tour title? See, the Grand Chess Tour has 6 editions. In 1 year, 6 tournaments would be held. 1 in Romania, 2 in Bulgaria, 3 in Croatia, 4, 5, 6, all in St. Louis, United States. United States. So the 4th one has been won by, Pragnananda. Coming to this choice, this guy is a current leader. He is a current leader of, the Grand Chess Tour, current leader in terms of points and everything. Okay. The Lok Sabha passed the Taxation and Other Laws Bill to amend the payment settlement systems, allowing the central government to permit banks and other service providers to levy charges on UPI and other payment financial systems. A lot of people have been seized of this matter. They have been saying that, the government it's unfair to charge us paisa on this. Well, remember one thing, the government hasn't come out with any particular clarity about this. As of today, it's just the act has been amended. But what the government is saying is that, UPI, Unified Payments Interface, which is a payment settlement system brought in by NPCI, National Payments Corporation of India. So UPI is owned by NPCI, National Payments Corporation of India. This, National Payments Corporation of India has revealed that every day, on an average, that is 66 crore UPI transactions happen. 66 crore UPI transactions happen. Can you believe this? This is the world's most, most widespread, digital payment system. Now, the government has not said that person to person. That is, when I transfer paisa to, you, as an individual level, it won't be charged. The government has been very clear about this. So no fee will be charged on person to person thing, but it is likely that anything to do with government, let's say anything to do with businesses, see, transactions could be charged. So if you are transferring to a business, we are buying something with UPI, then the government could levy a small, charge. Now, many people say this is unfair. I say, look, when you use a credit card, there is something called or a debit card or a credit card, especially a credit card, MDR, merchant discount rate. Merchant discount rate. Like, for example, you have a credit card that has been issued by Visa and ICICI Bank. This is just an example, okay? ICICI Bank. When you go to a store, MDR usually is about anywhere between 2, let's take an average of 3%. So if you buy an item worth 100 rupees, 3% of that will go to these two companies. Usually this is split, the card technology company and the card issuing company. So there is already, charge on this. Does the consumer suffer here? We don't know. It depends on the merchant. If the merchant is not willing to absorb the cost, he may pass this on to the consumer, you and I. As of today, there is no clarity on this. Yeah. So some places I've read that if a transaction is about 2,000, there could be a fee. The government hasn't said anything. It's all pure speculation. Okay. Whose term as the cabinet secretary was extended by a year? TV Somanathan. TV Somanathan. The choices here, see, remember the cabinet secretary is the highest bureaucrat in India. Highest level bureaucrat in India is the cabinet secretary. This is the acme, ACME, the peak, the apex of IAS. Okay. Beyond this, there is no position in the bureaucracy. Please remember this. Ganesh Kumar, the Chief Election Commissioner of India, Dr. Sukhbir Singh Sandhu and Dr. Vivek Joshi are election commissioners. Okay. Harsha Bangri is MD of Exim Bank, Export Import Bank of India. Which airline appointed Tuvalde, Gebremariam as its new CEO? Air India has appointed, to replace Campbell Wilson. Campbell Wilson is the outgoing CEO. So Tuvalde is replacing Campbell. Air India is somewhere not doing great, my friends. Let's skip that part. Akasa Air, the CEO is Vinay Dubey, ex-Jet Airways. SpiceJet founder CEO Ajay Singh. Indigo, Willie Walsh. We are discussing CEOs, please. We'll end it here. Willie Walsh, he is the ex-chairperson of, ex-president of the International Air Travelers Association, IATA. So huge networking capabilities, that familiarity with regulations and everything makes this guy's job, makes, Indigo's job better. Who apologized to the government of India over child's sexual abuse material and complaints on the company's platforms and for operational errors like removing Prime Minister Modi's video and all that? Mark Zuckerberg. He is the chairman, CEO, and co-founder of Meta Platforms. Okay. Remember one more thing. This company owns WhatsApp. It owns Instagram. It owns Facebook. It owns Oculus. which is a VR company, virtual reality company. It owns, if I'm not wrong, Threads, which is more like Twitter. Parallel Durov, he is the CEO of Telegram. He's one of the two founders of Telegram. He's also the CEO. Elon Musk, X, formerly called Twitter. Shao Ji Chu, TikTok. But TikTok is banned in India. TikTok is owned by a company called ByteDance. Sundar Pichai, you all know he is the CEO of Google and Alphabet. Google and Alphabet. Google is owned by Alphabet, so he is also the CEO of both. The the parent company Alphabet, and of course its subsidiary standalone company Google. Who assumed charge as the acting Central Vigilance Commissioner of India, the highest anti-corruption officer in India? A.S. Rajiv, ex-CEO of Bank of Maharashtra. Bank of Maharashtra. What about the choices? Ajay Seth is the chairperson of IRDAI, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. Tuhin Kanta Pandey, chairperson of the Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI. Ashok Lahiri, chairperson, he is vice chairperson of Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog. You know, Niti stands for National Institution for Transforming India. Okay. Now, Anurag Jain is the CEO of Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog. I wrote it in short, basically. With which country has ranked first globally in the Environmental Performance Index with a total score of whatever? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Estonia. It's a tiny country, tiny population. So these kinds of countries doing well is a very small thing, very normal thing. But these are top 5 countries. Number 1, Estonia. Number 2, Luxembourg. Number 3, United Kingdom. Number 4, Finland. Number 5, Netherlands. 177 countries were ranked. Okay, Laos, last rank, 176, India. See, you know that from our previous talks, from our previous sessions, I normally don't trust these indexes. Okay. This is Glam Lake, GLAM, Glam Lake. The photo is not clear, but I'd suggest you look it up on the web. Go to Google Maps first. Type in Glam Lake and see how it is in the middle of a forest, dense, thick forest. Himalayan forest, you could call it, in eastern Uttar Pradesh. Eastern Uttar Pradesh. You would find this in the Kamlang Tiger Reserve. Kamlang Tiger Reserve and Wildlife Sanctuary. That's the name. Kamlang Tiger Reserve and Wildlife Sanctuary. This is in Arunachal Pradesh, and ladies and gentlemen, it's also called an IBB or IBA, basically. Important bird and biodiversity area. Important bird and biodiversity area. A lot of migratory birds come here. It's also famous for its ecosystem, which contains about 150 floral species. I was reading about this, so these things fascinate me. And of which 49 basically are orchids or orchids. You can pronounce it either way you want. I was reading about the local mythology surrounding this lake, the Glam Lake. There is around surrounding areas, the Mishmi people live. Mishmi tribal people live. They believe that this lake is a tiny lake, you can see, is protected by 4 guardians. There are 4 guardian spirits. 2 boys, 2 girls. It protects these 4 protect the lake, protect the visitors, people like us who go here, and protect in the entire ecosystem. That is why it is believed that no one can drown in Glam Lake. Don't try that, of course. Yeah. It's a wonderful thing to believe in all these things. Belief is very important, my friends, especially these kinds of beliefs. At least 72 persons have died during actually, as of today, the number is 111 as of today, 13th of August, 14th of August. Today is 14th of August. This is the partition horrors day. Today is the partition of India came about, separate Pakistan, separate India. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, 72 people had died after some of these, basically some Africans, Moroccans especially, they escaped to what is called Spain's exclave. See, this is Africa. Okay, this is Africa in green. In green. Okay. Now there are some places here. This belongs to Spain. This. Okay. If you look at the entire border, these are so small that the total border that Spain has with Morocco is just 9 kilometers. It's about 9.8, make it 10 kilometers. Just 10 kilometers. So these are very small areas. Okay. But a lot of people, to escape to Europe, basically, in search of a better life for whatever reasons, yeah, they cross these breakwaters here and they came to this place. Especially they came from this year. This is Spain. When people say that Africans crossed into Spain, it did not mean it does not mean they crossed this one 14-kilometer stretch. No, only here. This is okay. Areas that are away from the mainland, but surrounded by some other country on one side is called exclave. What is it? Exclave. Fair? Who won the men's and women's singles events respectively, gold medals at the 2026 Commonwealth Table Tennis Championships? Ankur Bhattacharjee men's event and Yashashwini women's event gold medal winners. At the end of it, I found this. India has topped the table. We won 6 golds, 4 silver, 8 bronzes. So 18 medals, including 6 golds. We are at the right top, top. Of course, Malaysia came in second and Australia took the third place. Not much to discuss, but India topped the table. Yeah, and these two guys got individual gold medals. Who assumed charge as the 54th Director General of the Geological Survey of India, becoming its first ever DG? Ladies and gentlemen, the Geological Survey of India was started in 1851. 1851. So think of it. 1851 it was started with the British and it continues, and as of today it is under the Ministry of Mines. Ministry of Mines, and its head office is in Kolkata. It's in Kolkata. Kolkata is home to a lot of organizations. The Anthropological Survey of India, the Geological Survey of India, the Botanical, the Botanical Survey of India. Yeah. So yeah, the Indian Statistical Institute and the Geological Survey of India. Nirmal Pooja, this is he tragically passed away, my friends, recently. He was pretty young. He was born in 1983. Yeah, very young. Just I think 43 years old. He passed away recently, and he was UK, Nepal citizen. He was a British, special commando, para commando. He had climbed, 14 of the 8,000, plus peaks. 8,000 meters plus peaks. He has claimed all of them in a record time of 6 months and 6 days. He was the fastest in the world. Can you beat that? But unfortunately, while he was, on Broad Peak, which is not very, they're not as tall as the other, most of the mountains he had climbed, 51 meters. There was an avalanche, and that buried him, that killed him. Look at this man. I mean, such a young age, he passed away. And one more thing, Indian newspapers would have told you that this is in, Pakistan. It's absolutely not true. It is in Pakistan occupied Ladakh. Pakistan occupied Ladakh. Okay. Yeah. The Union Cabinet approved the Samudra Manthan scheme, to increase our own domestic oil production so that it can, reduce our import bill, and overall, the idea is to improve energy security. And of course, this is a very tough game, my friends. Remember, we spent close to we last year we spent close to $160 billion on importing oil and gas. $160 billion is a lot of money for a country like ours. Okay, we import about 85% of what we need because our domestic production is small. Now the government is investing, at least what we say, $8 billion in this kind of stuff. Yeah, nearly $9 billion. Meet Tanvi Sharma, all of 17 years old. This kid has done remarkably well. She won the Taipei Open Women's Singles Championship. That's a remarkable thing, isn't it? Yeah, making the country proud. And who won this is, of course, the women's singles winner. The men's singles winner was Yudio, or you can say Yudia Akimoto of Japan. Men's singles winner Yudio Akimoto. Okay, not much to discuss here. Name the 5-time FIFA World Cup champion that would come to India to play a friendly match against our folks. We aren't ranked in the top 100 teams in the world, my friends, but Brazil is ranked number 5 as of today. Brazil is ranked number 5. Number 1, Spain. World number 1, Spain. Okay. 2 would be Argentina. 3, if I'm not wrong, England. 4, France. Or they could be, no, sorry, 4, England. I'm so sorry. 4, England. And you would find that, we've gone to some other. 4 is England, and 5, of course, Brazil. You know who's the 6th? It will surprise you. Morocco. We saw the map there. Morocco is the 6th highest ranked, 6th ranked, football team in the world. Which bank approved a $1 billion loan to support India's urban reform agenda, aiming to strengthen city infrastructure? You know, our cities are in a very poor shape. No drainage, no sewerage, no great roads. There are major issues, pollution, all of that stuff basically. So we, one bank called the Asian Development Bank is willing to lend us $1 billion to improve, our cities, where a lot of economic activity takes place. Asian Development Bank is headquartered in Manila, which, as you know, is the capital of the Philippines. And Manila's, while it's head, it's home to the head office of Asian Development Bank. It's run by Masato Kanda. The president is Masato Kanda of Japan. Usually we discuss all of these things, almost in every session we discuss. But European Central Bank, Frankfurt, is the head office, home to the head office. It's in Germany. And Christine Lagarde is the president. Christine Lagarde is the president. France. She's from France. She's an ex-French foreign minister, finance minister, MD of the International Monetary Fund. I think that's about it. Or shall we bring in one more? New Development Bank. Head office, Shanghai, and run by former Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff. In some places, you may find single S. Do not worry. Or some places, you will find single F. Take it easy. Okay. India's first dedicated department of military medicine has been inaugurated in Lucknow. It was inaugurated, virtually by India's Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. Okay. Since Lucknow is mentioned here, Lucknow is also home to the Central Drug Research Institute. Yeah, Central Drug Research Institute Organization, CDIRI. Yeah. Pune, National Institute of Virology. Raman Research Institute. Ahmedabad is home to the PRL, Physical Research Laboratory. Physical Research Laboratory. According to the National Crime Records Bureau, which state recorded the highest number of cyber frauds? Ladies and gentlemen, my home state, Telangana. Many people say, how is it that a technologically literate state like Telangana could have the highest number of cyber frauds? Well, there could be multiple factors. One is this basic element that, these are targeted at people who are not so technologically smart. And second, importantly, is that people are greedy. Yeah, it could be that way. Yeah, of course, there's no particular order in which we can put this. And what kinds of frauds happen? Online banking and financial theft, credit and debit. I mean, we reveal the OTPs and all that stuff. And of course, people say that if you click on this, it will, if you invest in so and so, stock, you will get a lot of money. You hand over your money to me, I'll invest for you. All those kinds of things. People sometimes are gullible. Yeah, but that's no excuse for, the thieves, the fraudsters thrive on these things, isn't it? Yeah. So Telangana, Bihar, Maharashtra, the top three. One, about 18,992. So 19K, 4K, this is about 3K number of frauds. That's mind-boggling numbers. Okay. Be careful, guys. Be careful with all kinds of electronic devices and phone calls and all that stuff. That's all from me, Bharat C. Jain. Have a lot of fun. Thank you so much for being here. Stay curious.